So Hua Hin or Jomtien, I think a lot of people on this channel have looked at both these areas, and I think more are interested in Hua Hin, but some are thinking about Jomtien as well, or maybe other areas around Thailand. So that's what we'll talk about today, these two areas. So first we'll look at the healthcare, which I think is super important. And I think the healthcare in both these areas is excellent. They've got Bangkok hospitals in both Pattaya and in Hua Hin. So you can use these facilities. Obviously, if you've got insurance, it's going to be a lot, better to be able to use these. These are internationally accredited hospitals in the area. There's lots of other hospitals you can use in both these areas as well. But I kind of recommend Bangkok Pattaya Hospital, Bangkok Hua Hin Hospital. Both of them are excellent. They've got very good reputations. They speak English in there. The service is excellent. The next thing would be like the beaches over in Hua Hin and Pattaya and Jomtien. Jomtien's beach, I think, it's a nice stretch of beach. It's nice for walking along. You can run along that beach pretty good. There's a nice kind of promenade along there you can walk along, which is missing in Hua Hin, I think. Hua Hin is more you run along the beach or walk along the beach, but there's no kind of promenade. So that's like the main difference, I think. If you want some kind of promenade to run along or walk along, then I think Jomtien is better suited. With regards to the actual beach, I think both beaches are not that suitable for swimming. They're okay, you can swim in both, but I think there are better areas in Thailand to go swimming, if I'm honest. And I think retirees don't go to these areas for the swimming in the ocean, I think some people do, but a lot don't. They'll go to other areas. Like, for example, if you're in Jomtien, you can go to Koh Lan and have a swim in the ocean there, or you can go to Sattahip further south. Or if you're in Hua Hin, you can go further south, and I think the beaches are nicer further south for swimming. So, I think a lot of retirees don't go to there for this reason. But they both can swim in there. Is there pollution in the water? Yes, they're both cities, so there's going to be some pollution in the water, I think. The next thing would be the cost of living in both these areas. And I think they both can be done cheap. I think Hua Hin has got more expensive over the last few years. It's got very more touristic in the last maybe 5-10 years. It's really developed a lot, and especially now I think a lot of retirees are moving there, like Jomtien, but I think even more in Hua Hin now. It's getting very, very popular. So this is hiking prices up a little bit, so you might have to look a bit harder to find the same prices you would in Jomtien. But I think both have the same cost of living. If you look outside the little tourist hub, just go a little bit outside, like I always say, and you can get it a lot cheaper or back to prices that maybe you're used to years and years ago. You can find them prices, you just have to look a bit harder. Now, if you want a lovely location, bang in the center, then yeah, you're going to pay for it. Or you want a really good location in Jomtien or Hua Hin, you're going to have to pay a lot of extra money for that. You're going to pay a premium, I'm afraid, now. There are areas in both cities where you can find it cheaper, though, as I say. With regard to food, in both areas you can get fantastic Western food now. Obviously Thai food everywhere, but fantastic value Western food. And in Hua Hin over the last few years, it's definitely got a lot better, and there's some great fantastic restaurants, as the same in Jomtien. So they're both on a par. You can't really say anything between the two. I think if you compare Jomtien, the only advantage is you got Pattaya next to Jomtien, so that's another massive city where there's massive amount of Western influence there, so there's going to be more choice of food and a variety of prices for that food. So maybe some of them might be cheaper because there's more competition in Pattaya and Jomtien than there would be in Hua Hin. In both places, there's a nice market in Jomtien. It's called Jomtien Night Market. That's a really nice market. And in Hua Hin too, they got Tamarind Market, the normal night market. And there's lots of other markets in both places around, more local kind of markets to find Western food and Thai food. Condos available in this area. There are lots of condos, beachfront condos. You'll pay a premium for them for sure. You can't get beachfront condos very cheap anymore anywhere in Thailand. You're always going to pay a premium. But if you get a condo that's away from the beach, 2-3 kilometers, and you hire a motorbike, then I think, yeah, it's a better option. You can save yourself a lot of money. Both areas have a massive amount of condos for different budgets. Some very, very dirt cheap, you know, box room with a fan. Others 5-star luxury condos overlooking the ocean, you know, but you're gonna pay a lot of money for these kind of condos over here. Both places have housings available, you know, pool villas, and a lot are being built now in Hua Hin. I would say this is probably a better area now to get pool villas. There's absolutely loads being built at the moment, and it's really up and coming, you know, new housing complex builds in that area now. And I think it's a great area if you're looking at, you know, buying a pool villa or buying some kind of nice Western style property in Hua Hin. I think it's a great. Can you do this in Jomtien too? Absolutely. I don't think there's as many being built as there is in Hua Hin at the moment. And looks like in Hua Hin now they're kind of expanding south from Hua Hin going down. And I think that whole area is going to expand down the coastline, and more pool villas and housing complexes are going to be built in them areas because it's so popular now with retirees. Another massively important thing I think is the safety and security. And all condos in Thailand generally, and in housing complexes, they have security guards, they have security for the condo, security for the house, you know, like gated communities with a gate that'll go up at the top, you know, as you enter the complex. This is for condos and houses. Now, if you buy an individual house, quite isolated, then you won't get this security, and there is a chance of theft, especially maybe outside of main city areas. If it's not a housing complex with security, you know, just a house on its own being built on a bit of land, then that's quite different. So, you know, if you're looking for safety and security, I would always recommend, you know, a housing complex in a little community with a security guard, gated community. It feels very safe and secure. The community is normally very nice within that unit. Safety overall in Thailand is very, very safe in both places. There's probably more element of danger, not in Jomtien, but in Pattaya, because of the nightlife scene there is massive. So you get a lot of kind of drunken behavior. So this would something you might find. And you do get maybe people drink driving and stuff like this. So you got to be careful of this on the roads, especially there are a lot of accidents all over Thailand, guys. You know, I do have to like, not warn you, but just tell you about, you know, there are a lot of accidents over here. You have to watch what you're doing on the roads. I think most of the safety issues come with road accidents. So this is something to be aware of. But I would say that Hua Hin is safer than Jomtien because of, I think there's less traffic, less nightlife scene, so less people drink driving probably, bit of a guess, but I would say personally that is a bit. And Jomtien and Pattaya are two places quite close together, and Pattaya is an absolute massive city with a massive, you know, the biggest red light district in the world. You know, that attracts not always the best type of people, and you know that does attract a lot of party goers and, you know, party tourists coming over here to just drink and have fun, and that kind of, you know, crime can come along with that kind of environment. Just do us a favor, can you just subscribe to the channel? It really helps the channel, pushes the videos to a few other people like yourselves who are looking at retiring in maybe one or two of these places. Thanks a lot. I think location is another massively important one, and I'll be honest, I think Jomtien's better for location because you are very, very near Suvarnabhumi Airport. This can be really important for a lot of retirees. They like to travel. You are 90 minutes away from Suvarnabhumi Airport. So if you like internal travel, you know, flying internally within the country and you want to get to that airport very, very quickly, or external travel back to your own country or other countries around Asia, which I know a lot of retirees like doing if they're not on a really restricted budget, Jomtien would be a better pick for that. It is only, as I say, 90 minutes there, 90 minutes back. Very, very easy to get there and back. Pattaya does have another smaller airport, but the flights are slightly limited. They only go to certain places. They're not international flights from there. In Hua Hin at the moment, there's no actually decent airport, but they're expanding it. There is an airport, but it's a bit small at the moment, only goes to certain locations around Thailand, and it's a little bit limited if I'm honest. But this is being expanded. Now, when it's going to get expanded, I'm not sure. They're saying, you know, in the next year or so, but, you know, sometimes things do get delayed in Thailand a little bit. As you probably know, if you know a little bit about Thailand, things are not always done on time. So you might have to wait a little bit for that airport to have, international flights. Hopefully it's going to happen soon, but, it might take a bit longer than I think. What about climate? Hua Hin is definitely a drier area. There's less rainfall there, as I said on a few videos. So that would be a better area, I think, for the climate. They've both got sea breezes that come in. There's a bit of wind, there's a bit of kite surfing going on, and windsurfing in Jomtien and kite surfing in Hua Hin. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, they're quite good things to do there as well. So they do get a bit of wind coming in at certain times of the year. In both places now, you can get, you can travel around the city quite easily. In Pattaya and Jomtien, you get the BART bus, which is very, very famous. There's vans, there's buses. You can pretty much get anywhere pretty quick in Jomtien. I would actually say it's better than Hua Hin. Hua Hin's improving, but still, I think there's more buses, vans, taxis available in Jomtien for sure, because it's just a bigger city, basically. So there's more going there, and there's really good routes going back to Bangkok if you're catching buses back to Bangkok as well, very, very regularly. Yeah, in Hua Hin the same, there are buses go back to Bangkok, vans that go back to Bangkok the same, just a bit less than there would be in Jomtien, I think. If you want to hire a scooter, I think it's probably better in Hua Hin than it would be in Jomtien. Jomtien's better than Pattaya for sure, but they both have a lot of tourists there, driving around on motorbikes. I think both cities have a lot of tourists driving around on motorbikes. So even when I drive there, because I've been driving in Thailand a long time, I do take more care when I'm in Hua Hin or Pattaya or Jomtien, because there's tourists driving motorbikes there that don't understand how to drive in Thailand. So, I really keep an eye out for tourists on motorbikes, especially. And you've probably seen this yourself if you're in Thailand, or, maybe you come over to Thailand and driven a motorbike when you haven't really got that much experience. I used to do it. When I first came here, I drove motorbikes everywhere and I had no experience, and I was lucky maybe I didn't have an accident because you're not really used to Thailand and how people drive over here. So I would say both areas you need to learn how to drive in Thailand, basically, even if you're going to drive a motorbike in both of these areas. With regard to supermarkets and shopping, you can pretty much get everything in both cities now. Everything is available. And to be honest, nowadays, that is not actually that important anymore, because most people, or a lot of people, are doing some of their shopping online, especially for stuff out of, big malls and stuff. I mean, we just buy everything online now, to be honest with you. And if you're not already, you probably should. It's kind of easier. It saves money sometimes, going to the shopping centre. Yeah, if you like shopping, but I absolutely hate shopping. So I just say to my missus, okay, buy that, and we just buy it, and then we get it delivered straight to our door. It's just so much easier to do it that way in Thailand now. Now, if you like shopping, there are obviously malls in both cities, Blueport in Hua Hin, and, lots of malls in Pattaya, Jomtien area. Oh, sorry, I just had to move out the sun a little bit. It was getting a bit warm out there. The next thing would be the lifestyle in the two different areas. And I think it is very dependent, in the lifestyle in Pattaya, Jomtien is very different than it would be in Hua Hin. If you're a more kind of action person, you want more going on, then I think Jomtien is going to be better than Hua Hin. Hua Hin is a very peaceful place. A lot of retirees, over 50 really love that area. But some people moan that it's too quiet and not going on, and not enough going on there. So this is something you have to think about yourself, what kind of person you are, what kind of retirement do you want over in Thailand? Do you want action-packed? You want a lot going on, or do you want a very chilled out kind of peaceful life? And I think Hua Hin is better suited for a retiree who wants that. And the other thing would be the actual people that live there. In Jomtien, there are obviously some lovely people in that area. But, Jomtien is next to Pattaya. Pattaya is the biggest red light district in the world. The biggest red light district in the world attracts dodgy people. Dodgy Thais, dodgy foreigners, dodgy everybody to that area. So, Jomtien is very close to Pattaya. So, you do get some scrupulous characters in that area, I think. There's some lovely people live there, don't get me wrong. But I think there's more dodgy people living in that area than there would be in Hua Hin. So this is something to consider. Now, is Pattaya still safe and okay? Of course it is. I think there's just an element around that nightlife scene. And if you avoid that scene in Pattaya and you live in Jomtien, I think you're not really going to come across that many of those dodgy people, guys. this is something to just think about yourself. What kind of person you are, what kind of lifestyle do you want out here, and you know, what kind of people do you want to be mixing with out here as well. Okay, I hope that helps you out if you're thinking about retiring in the two. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and put a comment in the channel, you know, either Hua Hin or Jomtien for retirement, or maybe another city around Thailand you're actually looking at retiring to, guys. And anywhere you'd like me to investigate in the future, I'm going to have a investigate. Is that the right word? But I'm going to have a look at lots of different areas over the next few weeks. I've been very, very busy, to be honest. And the videos have been a bit mixed up because I've been out of the country and in the country a little bit. I've been a bit funny over the last month or two, guys. You probably noticed on the channel. So hopefully we'll get back to some kind of normality where I'm either doing videos from my home here in Thailand or out and about doing blogs as well from in Hua Hin. Going south from Hua Hin as well. I want to check out quite a few places south of Hua Hin and looking at other areas around Thailand as well. Even right up the north I want to try and do over Christmas as well, because I'm actually traveling up to near Chiang Rai actually over the new year, round about that area, hopefully for a week or so. So hopefully I can do some videos from up around there, give you some different content on the channel as well, keep it a little bit more interesting. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll see you on the next one.